a flat tire during a road trip, and the closest town was about 30 miles away. We started walking, and after a couple of hours in the blazing sun, we decided hitching a ride would probably be safer. After another hour or two, a guy finally pulls over. He was driving this little red Geo hatchback that smelled like cheese. We got in, and he took us towards town, but once we got to his road, he said to just keep walking and we would hit town in a mile or two. We find a place that says they can change the tire, and we are in luck because he recently called in saying he had seen our van on the side of the interstate, and he even had the correct tire to do it there. Turns out we weren't lucky because he just turned around and changed it, leaving us having to walk back to the van. We begged for a ride, but the small town shop owner knew he had us over a barrel because he had no competition in the area. So we hit the store for some water and started our trek back. We figured we got so lucky with the first ride, we would give it another go. We quickly got a ride this time, but when I opened the back door, I noticed an AR-15 laying in the back. The two occupants noticed my concern and just started laughing. I told them it was okay and we would just walk, and then they showed me their badges and made some offhand joke about how if we touch anything back there, we were dead. This is when we realized just how backwoods this community was. Fast forward a little ways down the road, and they suddenly pull over. We didn't know what was going on and told them exactly where the van was. The cops then said they couldn't take us any further because they had to go arrest a man wanted for murder, thus the assault rifle and vests. This is about time we notice the road we are at and tell them about the guy we first got a ride with. Turns out it's the same guy, and we got very lucky. This happened back in the late 1970s. I had just gotten my first car and was still living with my parents. The rules were I couldn't take the car out after dark on the weekend, but my parents were out of town. So a friend of mine and I were out cruising, and we see these two cute girls hitchhiking. We stopped and asked them where they were headed. They said Ocean City, which was about a 2-hour drive away. It was odd, since it was the fall and there wasn't much happening there. My friend and I looked at one another and said, "We're going to Ocean City." So I drove them out to the ocean. The one girl was occasionally crying, and the other seemed to be making all the decisions, and started making out with my friend in the back seat. About 3/4 of the way there, they admitted they were running away from home to live with friends. So, we get to Ocean City. I drive to the place they wanted to go, and it was dark and closed up. They insisted in getting out. It was cold and they didn't have coats, but they insisted they could get in. We made the return trip and just wrote it off as an adventure. So later that week, I'm reading the newspaper and there was a story about 2 girls who were kidnapped, driven to Ocean City and forced out of the car by 2 males. They even gave a description of my car, which was pretty unusual at the time, since it was a bright yellow Datsun 510 with chrome wheels. Their runaway plan didn't work out, so they told everyone we kidnapped them. It's December 2009. I'm about to deploy and I have to drive my car across the country to drop it off at my brother's to look after. I picked up a guy somewhere on I-90. Not sure where. The states kind of blend together when you have to drive over 1,000 miles a day. He smelled like old, wet laundry, but he didn't try to talk much, which made it bearable. I drove for a few hours and dropped him off at a truck stop he requested, right along the highway, so it's whatever. I lose maybe 10 minutes total. I bought some gas and snacks and got back on the road. I had a full tank and continued driving non-stop, passing lane the whole way, until I was almost out and had to stop for more fuel. As I enter this gas station, I see a familiar figure in the food court area and can't believe my eyes. It's him. It's the hitchhiker. He looked over his shoulder at me and smiled like he knew what was going through my mind, and then went back to eating without saying a word. I was freaked out for days. Not only was the coincidence uncanny, but how the fuck did he beat me there?